Euromaxx highlights. Coming up on the show, in the spotlight, the Polish capital Warsaw celebrates Chopin Year. In development, the future of the automobile at the Geneva Motor Show. And on display, a London gallery pays tribute to pop artist Richard Hamilton. Euromaxx highlights, and here's your host, Robin Merrill.
Hello and welcome to the show from our studios here in Berlin. We start in Italy, and one of the highlights of the Milan Fashion Week, which took place recently, the new collection from the Gucci label. Frida Giannini had the difficult task of taking over as chief designer there in 2005. Difficult because this was after the huge success of Tom Ford's decade beforehand. She has, however, garnered glowing reviews for her fresh feminine take on contemporary fashion, and the label is as glamorous as ever.
Seeing and being seen is all part of the show, even before the real show gets underway. Fans and fellow designers can't wait to see Frida Giannini's new collection. Gucci's catwalk show is a highlight of Milan Fashion Week.
Gucci, sexy.
And I'm really excited to see Frida's work, and yeah, I love her.
Giannini joined the long-established Florentine label in 2002. For the past 4 years, she's been the company's chief designer. She says she originally wanted to be a rock star, and this influenced her style.
For example, in the silhouette, which is always very skinny and very rock and roll in a way, in the attitude of the guys, in the styling, in the outfits, in the use of the accessories, because to me, it really complete the outfits very well. And then again, for example, in the music of the fashion show, because there is always this soul of rock and roll, which I think is always present in every collection.
Giannini's personal style can be seen everywhere, in the most recent menswear collection, and the autumn-winter women's wear collection, now on show in Milan. The Gucci logo is discreet, in accordance with Giannini's more subtle approach. But the glamour remains.
I think that glamour is a word that is a key word for Gucci, and I think it's in the DNA of Gucci. But I think that glamour and quality together, now they have to come together, to play together.
Gucci's reputation began with its elegant bags. Since the middle of the last century, the rich and famous all over the world have favored the Italian brand. In the 1990s, Gucci also became famous for ready-to-wear fashion. In 2005, Rome-born Giannini took over. Her first collection featured a feminine, romantic look. Some critics dismissed it as lackluster and banal, but customers loved it.
When you start to design a collection, when you start to project a collection, you try always to abstract more than possible yourself about what are you doing. But of course, at the end, there is a lot of your personality that goes in the collection. So maybe for the woman, I can recognize more myself in some outfits, or for example, in the look of the hair of the models.
Gucci clothes today are a combination of extravagant materials and wearable designs.
These sexy vamps who get out of limousines in shoes that aren't really wearable. That's changed. I think that's partly because as a woman, Frida Giannini knows what women wear. It's still very sexy, but not in such a glaring, obvious way.
Feminine, yet subtle. That's how most critics describe the collections of Frida Giannini.
I think it's a trend for a designer who sees herself as an image to send that onto the catwalk, creating a reality. I think this will be the next big thing. In Italy, she's doing that more than any other woman.
Giannini prefers to remain in the background and has no desire to be worshipped. She has now developed strategies to cope with the immense pressure.
I can combine, and now I'm okay. It was more frustrating at the beginning because I had to organize my personal life, but now I can do it. I have so many things to do. I love reading, I love cooking, I love to play with my dogs, I love to stay with my family, my dear friends. So I still have chance to do things like that. I'm not so stressed because I love my job.
She may not be considered a trendsetter, but Giannini has brought the company success. Despite the economic downturn, Gucci's sales are up.
From the world of fashion to the world of music next, as we celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of the composer Frederic Chopin. He was born near the Polish capital Warsaw, but the actual date of his birth is not certain. According to his christening certificate, he was born on the 22nd of February, but his family said it was the 1st of March. So, just to be sure, celebrations in Warsaw went on for over a week to cover both dates. A high point of the proceedings was a concert by Daniel Barenboim.
When renowned pianists like Daniel Barenboim are involved, Chopin's works become more than athletic exercises or romantic interpretations of the famous dances.
Es zieht mich sehr zu ihm, zu seiner Musik.
I feel very drawn to him and his music. I think Chopin is so well known because ladies from good families in the 19th and early 20th centuries played the waltzes and nocturnes and perhaps the mazurkas. And that brought him the reputation of a salon composer, which of course is completely wrong.
The danger with Chopin is that pianists tend to play only one side of him.
Die Pianisten, die das spielen,
The pianists who play him often only perform the wonderful muscular side of his brilliance. In other words, with their fingers, but not their heads. But the world of Chopin is full of harmony and complexity.
Chopin ist, wie gesagt, harmonisch, von ganz großer Komplexität.
Warsaw is at the center of attention for Poland's celebration of Chopin's heritage. The city has introduced musical benches as part of the celebrations. The Holy Cross Church has always been a special place for Chopin fans. Frederic Chopin was born in a village near Warsaw. When he was 21, he moved to Paris and died there, aged only 39. He's buried in Paris, but in compliance with his wish, his heart was brought back to Poland. The Chopin Museum in Warsaw has just opened after significant revamping. It provides an intimate look into the master's life and work, thanks also to new, modern, interactive displays. Visitors discover the human being behind the timeless works of music penned by Chopin.
It's not only the museum which shows some manuscripts, Chopin's letters or compositions, but also a museum which involves some emotions, which makes our visitors thinking about him as a close person whom they could meet on the street of their hometown.
The exhibition is a multifaceted celebration of the life of the great composer. Some of the rooms have an almost otherworldly, if not futuristic, feel to them. Chopin arrives in the 21st century.
Actually, the design is kind of bold and firm, just to get the message clear that we are not going to recreate the interior of Frederic Chopin or the time of Frederic Chopin.
Warsaw is also celebrating the master's memory with a music marathon. 8 days, between his 2 disputed birthdays, more than 200 pianists are performing his works non-stop, day and night. A marathon of music, star pianists, and a new museum. Chopin's anniversary year is off to a melodic start.
Europe's first major car show of the year is held in the Swiss city of Geneva. It's a show that traditionally reveals the futuristic concept cars that manufacturers have dreamt up over the last year. Of course, the world economic downturn hit the auto industry very hard. So it's not surprising to see that the latest prototypes are steering towards being more cost-conscious and environmentally friendly. Even so, the typical car show glitz and glamour remains.
More than 700 companies are exhibiting at the International Geneva Motor Show. Lutz Fügener is a professor of transportation design at Pforzheim University. He comes to Geneva every year.
The motor show has always been an opportunity for presenting prototypes and seeing how customers respond, gauging their reactions. Do they find the car interesting or dull? Could they imagine buying it? Does it alienate customers loyal to the mark, or does it appeal to them? You probably don't get much direct feedback in such concentration and with so much direct contact anywhere else.
The German students who developed Elmar are keen for feedback. They spent 9 months designing their radically new lightweight vehicle. The structure is built around 4 riggers made of special plastic. It's powered and steered by electric motors integrated into the wheels.
If you look at normal vehicles or cars, you see they all have been based on the same construction or design principles for years or even decades, the same complicated principles. We wanted to try something different, explore possible alternatives for cars of the future. That's what we wanted to show.
German carmaker Opel is presenting its Flexstream GTE electric-powered concept car. One aim was to minimize its wind resistance. Lutz Fügener talked to its chief designer, Boris Jakob.
These 2 cameras replace the rear view mirrors, and that helps reduce the drag. The cameras are really small.
The front windshield, there's nowhere for the wipers. Have you come up with a solution yet?
One idea is to have air fulfill that function, a specially coated screen and air. That's what we're working on.
Not every detail has been worked out yet, but that's usually the case with concept cars. Opel aims to demonstrate that sporty styling and performance can be combined with electrical power.
I liked it a lot. Very professional, both the body and the details. I think it's a vision of the future of electric cars that people can relate to. It's aesthetically very convincing.
Honda has unveiled a new model with the somewhat cryptic name EVN. The tiny 4-seater battery-powered electric vehicle has a retro look that evokes the classic 1960s Honda microcar. But this is the real pièce de résistance, a U3X stored in the door. It's a vehicle designed to fit into places which few cars can access. It's steered by the feet and redistribution of weight. Honda's design is what's called a personal mobility device.
I have mixed feelings about this project. I like it a lot because it's very consistent, very well thought out and functional. It's also nice to look at, a product you enjoy and want to actually put to use. You feel like trying it out, and that's a very important aspect of a product. But on the other hand, it's been packaged within a retro concept. In terms of craftsmanship, it's excellent, but it harks back to a Honda model from 30 to 35 years ago.
The Geneva Motor Show, wheeling out up-and-coming trends for car fans until March 14th.
Now, Richard Hamilton was the pioneer of pop art in the 1950s, although this title is often attributed to Andy Warhol. However, having invented the genre, Hamilton didn't pursue it, as throughout his life he's always liked to chop and change his artistic style. His art is a mixture of painting, photography, collage, printing and much, much more. At the grand old age of 88, he's still as active and innovative as ever. A retrospective of his work is currently being held at the Serpentine Gallery in London, where we met up with him.
The Serpentine Gallery in Kensington Gardens is a leading venue for contemporary art shows and a fitting place for a retrospective of one of Britain's most influential artists. The exhibition is entitled Modern Moral Matters and focuses on Richard Hamilton's political works. Hamilton has long had his finger, or paintbrush, on the pulse of the time.
I was asked not so long ago at Inverleith House, when there was a discussion, how it was that so many of my paintings produce icons. And I realized that it isn't my fault, that it just happens.
This is a founding document of pop art. It's from 1956 and predates Andy Warhol's work. It's been reproduced countless times.
This whole business of what we call pop is, for me, more to do with the fact that the images are second-hand.
In the 1960s, when Warhol was making his famous pictures of Marilyn Monroe, Hamilton also offered an interpretation of the American icon. In the series Swinging London from the 1960s, he showed his art dealer Robert Fraser and rock star Mick Jagger in handcuffs after a drugs bust. The picture is based on a newspaper photo. He recycled it in many media as a print, painting and photo. The curators of the show are the two directors of the gallery, Julia Peyton-Jones and Hans-Ulrich Obrist, who's from Switzerland.
The images that we all surround ourselves and the world that we live in are, of course, ubiquitous. The press is endemic. We are informed, we're coloured by the world around us, by the media in a wide variety of different forms. What's so interesting about what he does is that he then manipulates it back, because he takes it, he turns it, he twists it, he represents it.
As in Kent State, a critical work from 1970. The artist's response to events in the United States where the National Guard opened fire on an anti-war demonstration at Kent State University, killing 4 students. Hamilton photographed TV news pictures, creating an almost abstract image.
As time's gone by, I've become a little more serious about this, and so there are events like the shooting of students in Kent State, which have moved me to the extent that I felt it necessary to make some comment.
Hamilton is not only one of the most influential artists in England, he's also one of the most complex. The idea was to focus on his political works as a way into his entire oeuvre. To look, for example, at the way he investigates new technologies. He was among the first to play with computers. Very early on, he melded photography and painting. All that is addressed at this retrospective.
Hamilton experimented with a variety of techniques. He combined prints, photos and paint, or stuck cloth onto his canvases, as in The State, which dates from 1993. Hamilton's pictures are always a little pop art in feel. He represented British Prime Minister Tony Blair as a cowboy.
My next job is to go to the Prado in Madrid, because there's an exhibition which opens in 3 weeks' time of an etching that I did, and I'm very proud.
The exhibition in London honours a living legend of art history.
Finally today, somebody younger, Natalie Horler, who's the singer with Cascada, Germany's most successful dance act of the moment. Now, it's no secret that it's difficult for European acts to crack the important American market, especially when it comes to dance music. But Cascada hit the top 10 of the Billboard charts in 2006 with their song Every Time We Touch. And things have just gone from strength to strength ever since.
Soon as the fire is running wild, I will surrender to Fahrenheit. And I don't want to apologize. It's getting hot, hot, and I'm burning up.
Natalie Horler is the voice of Cascada, currently Germany's most successful dance music export.
I have a lot of energy. Everyone says I'm a bundle of energy, which is just as well, because I don't get to sleep much in this job.
It's a job she's had for 8 years. She took dance lessons when she was still at school and spent a lot of time in recording studios with her father, a jazz musician. She also worked in a clothing store and as a waitress.
I also sang part-time in a bar, and although it never helped my career, it was good practice. I was very shy as a child, and I could never have gotten up in front of people to sing.
She was discovered in 2002 by music producers DJ Mannion and Yanu. By 2004, they were enjoying their first hits together as Cascada. Every Time We Touch, a cover of a Maggie Riley hit, made it into the top 5 in several European countries and even topped the US dance charts.
Normally, you don't have much success in the States with this sort of music. Everyone knows that even major artists like Robbie Williams don't manage to make it, blah, blah, blah. But I do think that Every Time We Touch was just truly a great track and just what we needed. It struck a chord with the kids in the clubs, and it became huge. And obviously, that was very encouraging for us.
The notoriously hard-to-crack US and British markets have embraced the German lineup. In 2007, they won the World Music Award as best-selling German artist.
We get a lot of negative response to our musical direction, so we never expected an award like that. It was really just an incredible experience. It did us lots of good, and it was good to reap the benefits of all our hard work.
These days, Natalie Horler performs in sold-out venues. Cascada is first and foremost a live act. In 2009 was another great year for Cascada. The trio developed a new sound, and the result was the single Evacuate the Dance Floor, which even knocked Michael Jackson off the top of the UK charts. These days, Natalie Horler is an established recording artist.
Basically, I'm a singer, whether I add a fast beat to my vocals or not. At the end of the day, I give my best in the studio and on stage, and I just sing as well as I can.
She's gone from singing covers to fronting one of Germany's most successful music lineups. Cascada has sold over 15 million units and is a major global act. Natalie Horler is living her dream. The former waitress is now a millionaire.
I've always dreamed a lot of dreams, but I'm also a realist. I've just been lucky. I wouldn't necessarily tell people that if I can make it, so can they. You need to work hard and believe in yourself, and you need to meet the right people.
Cascada is still firing away on all cylinders. This year they'll be touring Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and the US, getting dance floors steaming all over the world.
And that's all we've got time for today. If you want to see any of those reports again, or others from Euromaxx and DWTV in general, just go to YouTube and type in Deutsche Welle English, all one word, and the choice is yours. For now, though, from Berlin, goodbye.